Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, students barred from Central High due to dress code violations. Several students were denied entry to Central High in Midday, Clarendon over breaches to the school's grooming policy. The news was informed that on Monday around 8 a.m., scores of students could be seen about Midday Town Center. It is reported that the school's vice principal stood at the campus's entrance and barred the students for not adhering to the dress code. The grandmother of one of the female students, Sylvia Bryan, said her granddaughter was reportedly sent home for having hair extensions, a uniform not at the required length, and there was also an issue with her shoes. But she expressed a concern about the safety of her grandchild and other students who were sent home, noting that it was just by chance that she was home on the day in question.
She called me and said, "Grandma, they get locked out from school." I said, "Why the reason?" They say I have braid in her ear and a uniform short. Then so when they made her test today morning, the 2 inches of bottom side of her knee. So she must pull out the cloth her van. Then say she can't wear with the tag company, so then turn her back. The problem is this, when we have very cut up about it. Suppose me never the home and the place after lock up when me I go home. So I try to come home to collect my next grandson a primary school. Right now I come for a primary school. And to go back pick him, collect him when she come home. So I say suppose me gone away that day. What happened to her yesterday?
The news made several unsuccessful attempts to contact the school's vice principal for a comment. Before the start of the school year, Education Minister Favour Williams was adamant that no child should be barred entry over grooming infringements. During a post-cabinet press briefing on August 28, Minister Williams said she would be writing to school board chairmen to request that they impose disciplinary actions for principals who bar students due to issues with grooming. She further stated that such actions are in violation of the directives and the policies of the government. 3 candidates nominated for St. Ann Northeastern by-election. 3 candidates will contest the September 30 by-election in St. Ann Northeastern after they were duly nominated on Wednesday. They are David Anderson, an independent, Matthew Samuda of the Jamaica Labour Party, and Chase Neal for the United Independents Congress. The opposition People's National Party made good on its pronouncement that it would not be participating in the by-election. The Electoral Office of Jamaica has said it will now advance the preparations for the upcoming poll.
Well, we'll now move into another phase. Now that we have the nominees, we can now begin to prepare our ballots, begin to look at the logistics that need to be done. We will fine-tune our polling station. We have identified them already, 146 polling stations. And look at any other thing that need to be done. So we are fairly comfortable where we are now in terms of our preparation. We'll be ready for September 30th.
Meanwhile, the United Independents Congress said it will be contesting the by-election in St. Ann Northeastern based on its belief that the people of the constituency should not be used as a pawn in some political game. While conceding that the party's candidate Chase Neal will have a tough task emerging victorious at the end of the September 30 by-election, UIC President and founder Joseph Patterson said the party had to take its shot to give the people the representation they deserve.
As you know, the UIC is a fairly young political movement and party, so we don't have the resources that is given to the others by those who fund them. However, Mr. Neal wants to ensure the people of Northeast St. Ann have a representation, have somebody that they can look to for leadership and who would actually represent them and not use them as a pawn in some political game. So we understand it's a game the Prime Minister is playing, but we want to take it very seriously and give the people of Northeast St. Ann an opportunity to select somebody and a party other than the current governing party, given that they're not deserving of the seat or even being in Parliament for that matter.
Mother says heroic son always tried helping those in need. Aside from playing sports, particularly cricket and football, Rajon Melbourne, a well-mannered teenager from Content Avenue, Waltham Park Road, St. Andrew, loved rendering his assistance to those in need. Unfortunately, it was an act of goodwill that caused him to take his last breath on Tuesday. The 18-year-old, who was loved and respected by all who knew him, was swept away by floodwaters after he jumped in to save a woman who had been washed away. His body was recovered yesterday in a gully along Chesterfield Drive in Seaview Gardens. Leaning on a wall for support, the grief was evident on the face of his mother, Donna George, when she spoke with the news. She said it was his nature to help, but did not believe that one day it would have cost him his life. He was always helping people. That was just him. He wasn't well when I left him at home yesterday, so I was surprised when I heard that he was out in the rain trying to save the woman who was washed away, because he wasn't feeling good when I left him in the morning. But that was the person he was. He was always helping, she said. According to a report from the Constabulary Communications Network, about 3 p.m., 3 persons were trying to retrieve pigs that were in a gully. However, they were washed away by the heavy water. Melbourne jumped in to assist them, but was swept away by the current. His body was discovered about 10:30 a.m. yesterday. Residents of Majestic Gardens and the police on the scene, however, stated that Melbourne had jumped into the water to save a lone woman who was being swept away. She was later rescued by a Good Samaritan in Majestic Gardens. Melbourne, who worked as a warehouse attendant at a factory on Waltham Park Road, is a past student of Pennup High School and Evening Institute. His mother described him as a loving and a kind individual. He was always hugging me. He was a loving son, and him is the type who would push something in his mouth to eat. I really can't believe it that he's gone. Little before it happened, a man told me that my son gave him some water. He was just that type of person. This morning it really hit me. He has 7 siblings and he's the 4th one, and none of them is taking it good because they are really close, Georgia said. She said even hours after she heard the tragic news, she remained in denial but had to face reality. I wasn't at home. It was my daughter who called me to tell me that he had been washed away. Last night I couldn't come to grips with what happened. I didn't want to believe, and I was praying for a miracle. But when I see after 2 a.m. and that he was really not there in the house, it was that time reality hit, Georgia said. Body found in Rio Grande. The Portland police are probing the death of a man whose body was found floating in the Rio Grande in the parish on Wednesday morning. The body is that of a Rasta man, whom residents have identified only by the alias Mickey, who is from the community of Windsor in the Rio Grande Valley of eastern Portland. According to residents, the now deceased, who complained Tuesday afternoon about not feeling well, reportedly went to the river to take a bath but was not seen after. It is understood that about 11 a.m., a resident spotted a body floating in the river and raised an alarm. The police were alerted and the body was pulled from the water. The body was removed and taken to the morgue. Couple spends a mystery money on fertility treatment. A civil servant and her husband spent more than $3.5 million, which was wrongly deposited in their bank accounts, on IVF treatment to help them conceive a child. The couple, whose identity will not be shared, stumbled upon the sum in their bank account. The money was mistakenly transferred by the Accountants General's Department. The couple reportedly waited 2 months before using the funds to cover the rounds of IVF treatment. It is unclear whether the fertility treatment worked. On Wednesday, the couple was brought before the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court to answer to the charge of simple larceny. They were admonished and discharged by Senior Parish Judge Sancho Borrell after it was disclosed that the money was repaid. "I don't think you are criminals, I just think you are foolish," said Borrell, who had some harsh words for the couple. "I hope you are ashamed. You should shame like dog. One of you is a civil servant and the other is involved in the manufacturing sector. You should have known better. But we have this thing in Jamaica to say finders keepers. You know what I did was wrong," the senior jurist said before discharging the couple. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.